Days.
Boxing scene came out with the breaking news that Dillian Whyte tested positive for a banned substance. Uh, can you just kind of give us the whole situation?
There's some things I can say and some things I can't say because obviously there's a big legal situation and a lot of stuff that's been reported, particularly by that website, is actually incorrect. So what I can tell you is that both fighters underwent extensive VADA testing and UCAD testing in the preparation of that bout. Both fighters went into that bout fully cleared and licensed to fight by those people and by the British Boxing Board of Control. There was a hearing for Dillian Whyte prior to the fight where he was asked to provide information and he was cleared to fight. So that's what I can tell you. There'll be more information coming out tomorrow. That's important because there's like this big speculation that no one knew and it was brushed under the carpet. No, there was a procedure that was followed. I'm not a doping agency. I'm not a governing body or a commission. Once those people clear a fighter to take part, the fight's on. And there was a hearing to listen to evidence pertaining to that during that process, and the result of that meant that the fight took place.
Okay, question for you. Was the WBC notified about the inquiry?
I don't know. That's a question for the British Boxing Board of Control. We don't notify people of confidential information between a fighter, the governing body, and the testing agency. In a VADA environment, VADA report on their tests, okay, to various different people. So, for instance, VADA don't sanction fighters. They don't suspend fighters. They just report the information. Dillian Whyte's entire VADA history completely clear in a preparation to the Rivas fight. So all the reports that the WBC would have got is all of his cleared tests. UCAD do sanction fighters. They do suspend fighters. They do stop fighters from taking part. And they went through that process. They had an independent panel, a hearing with Dillian Whyte, and he was cleared to take part in the fight. So whether the WBC were informed, that's a question for the British Boxing Board of Control.
Now, a lot of people in the U.S. are not familiar with the protocol in the U.K. What is a therapeutic exemption? Because from somebody on this side of the pond, it sounds like kind of a shield to cover up what guys are actually taking.
Absolutely. I mean, that's not a UK problem. That's a global problem. And you should be speaking. A therapeutic use exemption is someone who takes a substance for an illness or something like that. I'm not a doping agency, so as far as I know on that situation, you would have to go to the governing body, i.e. VADA or someone like that, and you would have to provide all your medical history to say this is something that I need to take. Might be an eczema cream, might be, I don't know, something like that. And the agency would have to approve that substance. That makes sense? All of these situations, you guys have to understand, the decisions are made by these people. Do you know what I mean? They're not made by me. I don't go in and say, yeah, it's fine, mate, take that. Don't worry, the fight's taking place. Just don't tell anyone. These things are dealt with by governing bodies and by agencies that are employed to make the decisions by the commissions. They're independent bodies. They're experts. They're physicians. They're doctors. They're scientists. So whatever decision was made around Dillian Whyte was made by these people, not by me saying, yeah, forget about it, let's just deal with it in a couple of weeks. That's important. In respect to the therapeutic use exemption, that's something you need to speak to VADA about the process of that happening. But again, it's not just you saying, oh, I need to take this, so is that all right? There's a process that has to be followed in order for that to happen.
Okay, last thing, and I'll let you go. I feel like there's not enough transparency when it comes to performance-enhancing drugs in the sport of boxing. What needs to change for it to get better?
I think we're making progress. I think still, I mean, my comments, I'm getting a bit of stick about this incident when I've been an advocate of VADA testing. We spend hundreds of thousands a year on VADA testing. Every major fight should carry VADA testing. Not potentially get tested, no. 14, 16 weeks of constant VADA testing. That's important, and I've been an advocate of that. For me, if a fighter has intentionally cheated to gain a physical advantage in a fight, they should be banned for life. Unquestionable. There are incidents, and I know plenty of fighters that have failed a test where they've been sloppy or unlucky. Unfortunately, it's hard to have one rule for one and one rule for another, if that makes sense. Some incidents, won't name any names, heavyweights recently, who've pulled out of Anthony Joshua fight, where it's so, like, you talk about 3 substances and the way they are ingested and the levels in them and stuff like that. So it can only be a cheat. Do you know what I mean?
But there's no significant suspension. The WBA came out with a 6 months, but that's a slap on the wrist.
The problem is, this is the good thing about UCAD, right? Which you'll learn as this case goes on. UCAD can sanction. UCAD, if a fighter, say it could be Dillian Whyte, is found guilty, he will be sanctioned by UCAD. The problem with VADA is they report. They do an amazing job, but they can't sanction. So the problem is with the Gerald Miller situation is who is going to sanction? Exactly. But when he hasn't got a license, which he didn't have at the time, he can't have that license suspended. So now what will happen is Gerald Miller just using, and I'm done with hitting on Gerald Miller. Like, get on with his life. Like, I like the guy. Like, just, you know. But what I'm saying is the commissions now. He will apply for a license in another commission, right? Whether they pass him or not is up to that commission, you know. But really, there should be someone. I wish VADA could come out and say, you have done this, this, this. The length of ban that we impose is 4 years, 2 years, 1 year, whatever it is. But your bigger problem is the bigger problem, is in America, because at least in England there is a body who, if a fighter has knowingly cheated and he's failed a test, they will sanction him and they will ban him. There's a case with Eric Molina. You won't know this. Eric Molina failed a test for the Anthony Joshua fight. I think he's still banned from taking part in the UK. Right? So at least they ban. So with the Dillian Whyte situation, let it unplay, make your own judgment, and if they feel that he's cheated or he's taken a banned substance and this and that, they will ban him. And they will ban him for years. All right? But innocent till proven guilty. It's more these days guilty till proven innocence. But it's very important for you to know that a hearing took place regarding this incident prior to the bout. Do you know what I mean? Not, oh, there's the news. Okay, don't tell anyone. Let's just get the fight over the line.
Which has historically happened in the sport.
Not in my experience. Virtually impossible. Virtually impossible. Where a fighter has failed a drugs test and you can just sweep it under the carpet. Because it was very important in this situation that there was this hearing so that it could be dealt with by experts. Not by you, not by me, who don't know what we're talking about, by experts.
Was Rivas' team notified?
Because there's nothing to notify them with whilst there's a hearing taking place. If he failed and they said, you're not allowed to fight, blah, 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 of course he would have been told. But what do? You go and say, just to let you know, there was an inquiry, there was a hearing, and he's cleared to fight. Just wanted to let you know. Like, you can't. That's gonna be almost unfair to Rivas. You know, I understand the argument of letting a fighter know, but whilst and by the way, the whole thing is confidential. Whilst the fighter's getting the right to be heard, say that Rivas is alerted to a problem and then tells the media. We're in the same situation we're in now, where everybody's accusing Dillian Whyte without knowing the facts. You know. So then it's prejudice to the hearing. So that's why it's asked to be kept confidential. Don't mind telling you the truth. There was a hearing, an independent panel assessed it, and he was cleared. That's the truth. But I understand your argument, but I just feel that in a confidential situation like that, in a legal case, unless a fighter is suspended to fight, unless he's banned to fight, then really you can't just prejudice the guy's position in a hearing.
I feel like test results should be made public so there's transparency.
Yeah, but VADA, when you do VADA, there's certain people on the email, right, of all the reports. So, for example, that fight, Rivas against Whyte, every time the fighter is tested, the reports of that test will go to me, the British Boxing Board of Control, Yvonne Michel, Team Oscar Rivas, Dillian Whyte, Oscar Rivas, the WBC, right? That's the testing results. If it comes back positive, they don't say, this has come back positive, the fight's off. They say, this has come back positive, it's over to you guys. Do you know what I mean? Look at Gerald Miller in that situation. VADA reported that incident. They don't say he's failed all these tests, he's banned for 4 years. They say that we've done our job, we're reporting it to you. I almost don't like that, because in that incident, the New York Commission came on and said, you're banned. Or no, we won't license you. right? But if they would have said, no, we've looked at this and we don't agree, we will license you, almost contractually, we have to fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, so in that incident with Rivas, contractually, if a fighter is cleared by everybody, I can't say, okay, the fight's not taking place. You know what I mean? Because contractually, I'm breaching. You know? So I have to make sure that we do things properly, that these people make the decisions, and we follow the decisions of the governing body. And that's what we do.